welcome to Wrestling at Random. I'm Jeremy Deemer.
And I am Adam Summers, and you're in Season 6 of Wrestling at Random. So we wind down the final weeks of this season. The theme, you know it if you've been listening, it has been more wrestling than ever. More wrestling than the more wrestling than ever we said we brought you in Season 5. Upwards of 60,000 hours of professional wrestling were dumped into the randomizer from public and private dark web sources. That certainly has been represented across all of Season 6. And this week's episode certainly fits the bill when you talk about going deep, deep, deep into the archives via the randomizer to find something for us to watch. This is an episode of Lanny Poffo's Rogue Territory International Championship Wrestling, ICW, from Lexington, Kentucky, September 1979. Not only is this an episode of ICW for September 1979, we'll get to it throughout this podcast. It's an episode where, for whatever reason, we get the production truck audio in addition to the actual on-air audio throughout this show. It is weird. It is fascinating.
So we take all those thousands and thousands of hours of pro wrestling content. We fire up the randomizer. It picks something at random. And what we do, first thing I do, peek behind our curtain. First thing I do is I look at the runtime and make sure it didn't just pick like a single match or something like a short clipped thing. Like if it's going to be like, if it's under 10 minutes, I grab that usually and I'll throw it into the pile of things that go over in the Patreon. Things that are not a full show, a match, something, a TV show, something for us to review. If it pulls something weird, then I just throw that into the Patreon. And the Patreon is where we go and review all the weird stuff that the randomizer pulls, along with our intentionalizer picks, patreon.com/wrestlingatrandom. So here, this was like a 40-minute runtime. That's a TV show. That's an hour-long TV show, usually without commercials, right? So
35 minutes, I believe the file was.
So I'm like,
that piques my interest a little bit. 35 minutes. What are the long commercial breaks? Is something missing, perhaps?
So we've looked good enough to fire up. So let's get into it now. Did not know it was gonna be a weird version that had the production audio feed in it as well. This is from a personal collection. Somebody had this tape, and
it had to be someone that was on the production team. Why else? Because like the master tape that the station had wouldn't have this on. Like this is more master than a master tape, and it's also weird because like the end of the tape has like, or the end of the video file has like 3 or 4 minutes from some random movie, clearly from 1979. And then there's like 10 minutes of, or 5 minutes of Good Morning America from some point in like the late 2000s.
Yeah, it's a strange copy of whatever this pulled here. So if you want to hear more about ICW after this, go back to Season 4, Episode 14, right here in the free feed. Go back to Season 4. There we reviewed ICW from 1982, so about 3 years after the show we're about to review today. That one was super fun because we got to learn about their feud with Jarrett's Territory and all the fun stuff with the Macho Man and Jerry Lawler. And so go back and listen to that episode. A lot of fun stuff there. Here I will tell you a little bit about International Championship Wrestling. You mentioned it at the top. It was an independent pro wrestling promotion based out of Lexington, Kentucky. It operated from 1978 to 1984, founded by Lanny Poffo. And you know him as a former wrestler, but also as the father of the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Lanny Poffo, the genius, Leaping Lanny.
New Japan Pro Wrestling play-by-play man.
That's right.
That's why, if you're wondering why I'm wearing a New Japan shirt, that would be why. That was the closest connection I could get to anything on this show for clothing.
Yes, you always want to see what shirt Adam has picked for the show, and you do that by watching the video version of this podcast, also available up at YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search for Wrestling at Random Podcast. Make sure you're giving us a subscription over there, even if you don't consume the video version of the podcast. It's worth going there, checking out Adam's shirt, and then listen to the audio version if that's how you want to do it.
Is the video version also available on Spotify with that neat toggle button as well?
I'm glad you brought that up. And of course it is. Yes, if Spotify's your podcatcher of choice, if you're listening on the audio version on Spotify, you can just hit a button and it'll pull up the video version right there in the same player that you're listening to as of the time of this recording. So ICW was notable for its status as an outlaw promotion, meaning it was not affiliated with the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA, and it often competed directly with the NWA territories, like I mentioned, Jarrett's Tennessee territory there.
And would flat out say at times, the other promotions you watch are fake. We are real. Like that is what they would say. Obviously not true, but that is what they would say at times.
ICW's operations extended beyond Kentucky into states like Tennessee, West Virginia, Illinois, and Missouri. They had events held at usually like National Guard armories, schools, civic centers. The promotion's roster featured a mix of emerging and established talent, including Randy Savage, Lanny Poffo, Ronnie Garvin, Bob Roop, Ox Baker, Bob Orton Jr., Pistol Pez Whatley, and of course, Miss Elizabeth would later gain fame in the WWF. Before that, she began her wrestling career as the on-camera host of ICW's weekly TV show.
Yeah, it's pretty wild when you think about how, like, for this outlaw promotion, obviously, not affiliated with the NWA, like, you watch the shows and they're very, very small studios. Like, it feels very small time. The level of talent they had was certainly bigger than, the production budget they had.
ICW ceased operations in 1984, with some of its talent including, of course, Randy Savage moving on to greater prominence in other wrestling promotions. Today, ICW is remembered from its rebellious stint and its role in launching the careers of several wrestling legends. We were talking before we went on the air that the rights to the ICW library are currently owned by the WWE. We start this TV show hearing the production truck audio for this as the opening montage plays. The opening montage is playing. We get the graphics for the show. We hear the Midnight Express is the theme song of the TV show. Yes, that song from the tag team, the Midnight Express, entrance from the movie, The Midnight Express.
If you're like me, you also know it as the theme song to Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, which I listened to overnights as a young kid every single night. So that song on multiple levels, I always smile when I hear that.
The production truck is talking about how they hope that the movie isn't playing tonight after this, and they talk about where this song is within the movie and everything. They're just entertaining themselves during the montage. And then while this whole thing is rolling, one of the guys in the production truck says, I got a joke for you. Did I tell you that I'm going to have my name in lights flashing all over town? I'm changing my name to Don't Walk. Lots of groans for this joke in the production truck.
So lame, but you could not help but laugh. They're all like humming the Midnight Express theme song as we're going to start the show again. This is so strange. We see like the open, you see the ICW belt, and then they cue in applause from the crowd. And the next thing we see is John Back is the name.
B-A-C-K, John Back at the desk.
Such a wacky name. He's here. He's got like an 80s comb over and a mustache. He's a heavy set dude. He says someone, I believe, named Steve Cooper is suspended.
Steve Cooper, yes.
Ronnie Garvin's suspension has been lifted, and Randy Savage has been ordered to return the Southeastern Championship to Ronnie Garvin.
They run down the card. We're told ICW champion Randy Savage will wrestle. Very excited for that.
Yeah, I was excited for that.
And then, oh God, Izzy Slapowitz is here.
He is the heel manager. If I had forgotten this was the territory, he is the heel manager that the entire promotion revolves around. Every heel on the show is managed by Izzy Slapwitz.
Thank God he quickly hands the mic to Savage. Savage cuts a promo, talks about it. He's not going to give that title back to Ronnie Garvin. He hands that belt to Izzy Slapwitz. He says he's ranting about doing it for Steve Cooper, who was suspended.
Suspended! Definitely!
My God, it sounds like my flip band by camera one.
I'm back. You don't think that I'm upset?
One's up.
Lost my headband. I can't even operate like this. ICW orders me to give the Southeastern title back. After suspending my manager, they say, give it back. Put up bond money.
Stand by.
No way, John. Back. No way.
Two's up. Good shot, too.
Ronnie Garvin, you got more of a chance.
Stand by
Climb
one.
through an eye of a needle.
One's up.
You gotta get the Southeastern title back. And I'm gonna do it, man, not only for myself, but I'm gonna do it for Steve Cooper, who's suspended indefinitely.
Two's up.
And for safekeeping, man, because I know there's a lot of thieves around here, including Ronnie Garvin. Izzy Slapwitz, the Macho Man asked you to put the Southeastern heavyweight championship
Shot of Izzy on one.
possession. And hold it and guard it to the world champion. He's gonna get some payback down back. He's gonna get some payback, and I'm gonna do it for Steve Cooper.
My takeaway here is he's not quite full Macho Man Randy Savage voice. He's almost got like a Cactus Jack cadence to his promo.
My notes say the exact same thing. He is a combination of WWF Randy Savage and like 93, 94, 95 Cactus Jack, where it's not like he's screaming, but it's not like anger. It almost sounds like he's going to start crying at any given moment. Like it's very noticeable. And yeah, we picked up on the exact same thing there with Cactus.
Yeah, he is yelling a lot, and but it's weird to hear his voice not be that full Macho Man Randy Savage voice.
It's very cool though. It like the Randy Savage voice that we know is just like confident, angry, like uncontrollable sounding guy, whereas this, he's yelling and the voice is mostly there, but he sounds more like broken and like he could just snap in a different way at any time. Like it's a totally different energy and emotion that you get out of it.
But in 1979, man, this guy looks like a freaking star. Like this guy would be, yes, I'm going to build my whole promotion around this guy.
For sure. And it's largely the same look. He's got blonde hair and this huge caveman beard, but he looks like Randy Savage. He looks a little bit more wild and unkempt. And then he just, again, like both of us said, that mid 90s Cactus Jack sound. We then from there go to the loop, but the loop at this point with the graphics is more of an excuse for, with what we're watching, the production team to basically for themselves queue up what they're going to be doing next. We do see that on September 14th, there's going to be Bob Roop versus Bob Orton. Also, Randy Savage versus Ronnie Garvin in a strap match. We see Ronnie Garvin cutting a promo. He also has the same 50s comb-over haircut that Jim Back or whatever the John Back has.
Yeah, not the normal spiky haircut you associate with Ronnie Garvin. He's got he's got like a very 70s flow happening here.
It's the differences in the look of Ronnie Garvin and how like we've seen, obviously everyone remembers like Hands of Stone Ronnie Garvin, remember 1987 world champion Ronnie Garvin. Like he's not a guy who it like subtly progresses from one look to another. It's just like bam, he looks like a completely different guy. It's very, very strange. Meanwhile, this is very uncomfortable here in 1979 as the guys in the production truck are talking about someone's 16-year-old daughter.
That they are. In the ring, our first match, Jim Pride versus Jeff Sword. Again.
We have become a Jeff Sword podcast. I just search, and granted, when I take my notes, there are sometimes misspellings because I'm just taking notes very quickly as we're watching. But in my notes, I just searched Jeff Sword in my Gmail, and Jeff Sword, Georgia, 1981. Mid-Atlantic, I believe, 1984. Very recently, a show we reviewed less than a month ago here on the free feed, I believe. It was that one with Mid-Atlantic champion Angelo Mosca Jr. Jeff Sword was on that show. And then here he is a pushed wrestler. He is one half of, even though we see him here as a single, he's one half of the Devil's Duo with Doug Vines, managed by Izzy Slapwitz. But here he is taking on, as you said, Jim Pride. Jeff Sword's like, he's got, talk about wild, unkempt beard and hair. He's got that going on. He's got some interesting print on his tights. Like, there's some attempt here to make Jeff Sword a star, which is bizarre given we just saw him on that mid-Atlantic show teaming as the designated jobber for sure in a team with Jesse Barr against Youngblood and Renegade.
Pride with some arm holds. Sword fights back, hits a backbreaker for a 2 count. He hits 2 more backbreakers, but Pride got his foot on the bottom rope. He's got Pride over his shoulder in a Canadian backbreaker position. Pride slips out onto the apron, but he gets immediately knocked to the floor.
Very awkwardly, Pride has this weird, contorted way of selling that's just awkward and uncomfortable to watch. I did enjoy, you mentioned the backbreakers. One of my favorite things on this show is as the match is going on, hearing the guys in the production truck talking about like what should be our replay, what should be our slow-mo replay after, like flag this on the tape so we can use it as a VTR. I assume it's the main guy, the director. He's like so into, and there's a big move, like he's concerned guys are hurt. It's very entertaining.
As Pride fights back, his back is hurting. And so Sword puts him on a bear hug, rams him in the corner. Sword puts his head down. Pride kicks him in the face. But Pride is distracted by Slapowitz, which allows Sword to bury a knee to the back from behind, slap on the bear hug again, and Jeff Sword is your winner. The referee calls for the bell. Pride looks out. He looks like he's out. The referee will clarify later that he did not quit, but the referee had to stop the match.
Yeah, this was a nothing match. It felt pretty long. Not a lot happened. The guys in the production truck were like, man, like we need some more action here.
Yes, they're desperately looking for replays.
It was interesting in that, like, this is a show from 1979, and we had 2 like non-ringside cameras. We had the hard cam, and then we had another camera from a similar position, like perpendicular. And then there was one ringside camera 3 that they would go to. It was very fuzzy, though, in comparison to the other 2 cameras. It almost looked like, obviously it wasn't because this was like live to tape, but it looked like almost like a Super 8 camera as opposed to the regular television cameras. But again, for an Outlaw promotion in this small studio, I mean, there's only 1 row of fans around a couple of sides of the ring. This was a decent production by the standards of 1979 and the money that was or wasn't involved here.
Izzy Slapowitz is with 2 dudes. I have no idea who they were.
I think that was Jeff Sword and Doug Vines. I think that was the Devil's Duo.
They were dressed business casual. It's hard to tell who this was.
Yes.
John Back tells us at the desk that Pride didn't quit. The referee waved it off. And Ronnie Garvin is there at the desk with him. Ronnie Garvin tells us what happened with Steve Cooper and why he got suspended. We see what happened.
Yeah, VTR, the classic territory thing where, you know, the wrestler and the hosts are talking over the thing that happened in the past. Ronnie Garvin is massive in 1979. Yeah. He is just exploding out of this T-shirt.
So we see what happened, and Cooper had a cane. And he goes to try to hit Garvin with it, but the referee got in the way, and the referee gets hit with the cane. And so that's why he's suspended indefinitely.
Who is this other manager who is not Izzy Slapowitz, but is dressed very much like him? I want to know who this person was.
No idea. Garvin unmasks Randy Savage's protege in the melee as well. Garvin wants his belt back, and Savage has been ordered to hand it over, but has not done so yet. And Garvin goes on this rant where he's like, I'm going to expose you. Your name is Randy Poffo, not Randy Savage. You changed your name to Randy Savage. Your name's Randy Poffo, and I'm going to expose you.
This was so weird. He was terrible trying to recap what had happened, just tripping over his words. But then the end of this, saying he's in Savage's head, saying Randy Poffo over and over again, says, well, I understand the discrepancy with the name because of the little problem about different mothers in your family. Like this was so great. It was also really interesting because I'm so used to Ronnie Garvin. I think of 87 with Flair,
Sure.
Into WWF, like yelling and screaming all the time. He was talking in just a normal person voice while he was ranting and raving. This was, I guess I shouldn't say great, but it was very interesting. And I thought by the end, really effective.
We go to the ring.
Do we ever?
Match. The U.S. Tag Team Champions, the team of George Winecroft and Leaping Lanny Poffo, teaming with a guy whose name is Big Boy Williams. We'll get to a fashion corner on here.
I was going to say we have to do a fashion corner. This is a historic moment in the history of this podcast.
I want to introduce the opponents first, then we'll do a Big Boy Williams fashion corner. The opponents: Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., who we have seen a lot of on this podcast as well. I mean, we saw Bob Orton Jr. deep into the 90s, and here he is in 1979. Doug Vines, who we've mentioned a couple times on this podcast, and the Tennessee Stud, who is wearing a full body suit and a mask. The internet is telling me that this man is actually Ron Fuller under the mask.
It's not.
And it can't be.
They may have done that at some point, but yeah, on this night,
this is a tiny guy he's a tiny doughy guy. This is not.
It is a tiny guy, and they even say on the, well, I won't say on commentary, but on the production truck audio that we hear, they even joke around like, yeah, I wonder who's under the mask this week. Who's the stud this week? So clearly, this was not. This was neither Ron nor Robert Fuller. This guy is like a foot shorter than either of those men.
So let's talk about Big Boy Williams and his gear. This man is wearing like white, loose-fitting boxer shorts underneath a pair of tight, short, black wrestling trunks and a white tank top, like a wife-beater tank top.
It is the shorts, the white shorts that are under the black trunks are like cut off long johns almost. This is without a doubt in 6 seasons here on this podcast, plus upwards of 250 episodes over at patreon.com/wrestling@random on the bonus feed. The worst gear I have ever seen in any professional wrestling match I have ever watched. It is
period. Yes,
hideous.
Agreed.
There is no competition, and this is not recency bias.
No, I mean, I would stack this up against anything Easy Money's worn. I would stack this up against anything that...
Well, because that's Easy Money's gear was gross.
That's right.
As we often say. This is terrible. We've seen some terrible... I think of some like the Masked Jobbers and Continental.
Yes.
Like this is... Especially because this is a pushed guy. This is a guy who we will see pick up the pinfall in this particular professional wrestling match.
We've seen jobbers wear horrible colors in ill-fitting gear, but my God, the shorts under the trunks, and it's not like it's wrestling tights. These are like loose, baggy shorts. It's so bizarre. I've never seen this look because it's hideous. Nobody would wear this look.
I'm so disappointed when I go on Cage Match. Like there's a fair number of ICW shows but none of them list Big Boy Williams. I want to know more about Big Boy Williams. I'm looking here. Well, I'm at wrestlingdata.com, but it needs to verify that I'm human. I think it needs to verify that Big Boy Williams is human. Is human. So I guess we have a disagreement. He wrestled from 1978 to 1984. 1983 is Big Boy Williams. He then wrestled as the Animal in 1984 in Central States, USWA. He also in 1980 wrestled for ICW as the Mighty Yankee, which makes me wonder if they did some sort of Big Boy Williams loses a loser leaves town match and has to come back under a mask as the Mighty Yankee, because it was a very short period of time in 1981 that he did this. He has 200. He's listed in WrestlingData.com as having had 226 matches with a record of 13-17. So that leaves about 190 matches that he did not figure in the finish of. He teamed with 34 different men and wrestled against 122 different men. His best year, he was +1 in win differential. His worst year was 1984, where in 73 matches, he was -16 in win differential. He finished his career 24 matches under.
The production truck, big fans of Big Boy Williams. They're like, we love Big Boy Williams.
They are. It's honestly not shocking that 3 or 4 men working a production truck for a small-time television station in Lexington, Kentucky would most connect with Big Boy Williams, and they did.
Yeah, they're like, this is our guy. This is him. Let's get into the match.
Well, we should also say John Book, whatever the play-by-play guy name is.
John Back.
Back, whatever. I think I'm thinking about how much of a fit Truth Martini and the Book of Truth would be in this territory. I think that's what's going on. John Back describes Big Boy Williams as, quote, a mountain of a man. And my notes just say that is only true if that mountain was made of bags of milk.
Yes, bags of milk, mashed potatoes. So this is I'm watching Big Boy Williams in the ring, and he tags out, and Lanny Poffo tags in for the first time, and what a difference! This match goes from Big Boy on offense to Lanny Poffo on offense. This is a huge chasm from like just do nothing and suck Big Boy to like Lanny coming in here and being athletic and doing some cool stuff.
Well, and compared to that first match as well, like the production truck guys lose their minds. Lanny Poffo hits that really unique, like jumping head scissors out of almost a drop kick position that I always associate with Alex Wright in WCW in like 94, 95. He hits that spiking, I believe it was Doug Vines, right on the top of his head, and this truck is going nuts. They're screaming, put that on. Like they've already decided that is going to be the post-match replay. Then
it's a cool, like where he hooks with his ankles.
It's like head scissors. It's like a necktie head scissors takeover, like starting from almost a drop kick type position. Again, look up an Alex Wright match and you'll see it. He did it like every single match.
Yeah, the truck was super impressed.
They were losing their minds. Then Bob Orton tags in, and Bob Orton and Lanny Poffo are going, and the crowd is like, this is how it should always, or not the crowd, the truck is like, this is how it should always be. We should have action like this all the time, basically saying it's usually boring. Orton, out of nowhere, basically invents Lance Archer's blackout finisher and then hits an awesome running knee drop. This was so good.
Orton and Lanny in the ring. I was thinking the exact same thing that the truck was saying, in that like these two guys are awesome together. I'm like, yeah, they're great. These are two pros, and this is like they're young, and like they're both really young here, especially Lanny, and they great chemistry. Just a different gear than everyone else had here.
Well, different. A lot of the guys in this match had the different gear. Doug Vines gets tagged in. I was super impressed by Doug Vines. Like, not the athleticism of a Lanny Poffo, but just everything with good snap, intensity. He looked like a pro's pro as well.
Yeah, he's definitely hanging. He's trying to keep up with Orton for sure.
Yes.
And then they get the heat on Lanny for a while here. Lanny eventually gets the tag, and he tags in Big Boy. This is the opposite of a hot tag. This is not a hot tag at all, because Big Boy just comes in, does nothing.
Well, incorrect. Big Boy tags in and immediately walks himself into an overhand wrist lock. Meaning he walks in and immediately just stands there as Bob Orton grabs an overhand wrist lock. But Big Boy powers him back into the corner and then hits a incredibly awkward slam. I was concerned for Bob Orton throughout. Like, I knew his career lasted past this match, obviously, but there were moments where I questioned whether that was going to be the case.
Yeah, he was like trying to press slam him, but he was really just like holding him over his head and slammed him awkwardly.
Yes.
Winecroft whips Stud into the babyface corner where Lanny hits a dropkick. Big Boy tags in and he hits the splash, and they get the win.
He hits a great babyface splash for like a guy that did not look good. I think of some of these other small territory giant hillbillies that we've seen that do terrible splashes. This was a very, very good splash. They get the win. We then get that slow-mo the truck asked for of that cool, unique flying head scissors by Lanny. And this is where we see, my God, he plants Vines right on the top of his head like a DDT or a Canadian Destroyer type of bump off of this.
We go to the back where we hear from Big Boy, who's with Pez Watley and Bob Roop about an upcoming 6-man.
What a trio of men right here. And can you just imagine that just 4 years after this, Pez Watley and Jimmy Valiant would squash the Road Warriors in just under 5 minutes at the Omni. Again, if you're a new listener and that sounds like we have that in reverse, we don't. Go back and listen to season 1. You'll hear what we're talking about. One of the defining moments in the history of Wrestling at Random.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And then the tape cuts off. We don't have the rest of this show. We're missing the This Week in ICW magazine portion. We're missing the Macho Man Savage match. It's over.
Very disappointing. Well, the tape doesn't end. The tape, like, this happens, and I'm like, there's still like 7 minutes left. What is going on? It goes to black, and then it comes back to some like dramatic scene in a movie between a man and a woman.
What it is someone taped over.
Oh, of course.
Someone taped over a movie with this, and then someone taped over this with something else, and then someone taped over that with something else.
The entirety of like my thousands of VHS tapes that I had before I moved out of my parents' house. That's 100% what happened, but it is so jarring because you go from this to this dramatic movie scene to then Good Morning America from 30 years later. It is a trip.
So we're missing the end of the show.
Which is a shame because, like you said, the end of the show, we love magazine segments. We always talked about that in recent episodes. It's one of our favorite things. It's such a great way to catch you up on what's happening in the territory in a self-contained way that doesn't bog down the rest of the show. And then we're going to get 1979 Randy Savage in the ring, and we did not get that.
So we do this show. We're literally pulling stuff at random.
Yes.
And so, like, in 6 seasons, I don't think we've had something like this happen, which is pretty amazing. Like,
not this incomplete. We've had something where, like, maybe the last 2 minutes of the show wasn't there, but certainly nothing like this.
No, this is something that it's amazing it hasn't happened, but the more we add and add and add to the randomizer, the more likely it's possible that this could happen at some point, and it happened for the first time here. So we got an incomplete show.
because otherwise we would not have gotten Big Boy Williams. We would not have gotten that Macho Man Randy Savage promo at the beginning of the show. And we would not have had talk about things we've never had in 6 seasons on the free feed or 250 episodes on the bonus feed. An episode of professional wrestling television where we get to hear the production truck throughout. That was fascinating and at times hilarious, but super, super interesting to hear in real time how a territory TV show in a studio was produced.
So with that, we're gonna have to wrap it up. If you want to
we
hear,
know what the worst thing on the show was: not getting to see the cool stuff at the end,
hands down. And
I was,
Big Boy Williams gear.
Yes, well, that's But again, historic. We would not have had that memory if that wasn't the case. Best thing on the show in ring, hands down, was the moments between Lanny Poffo and Bob Orton, how that just leapt off the screen, and then getting to see the in development Macho Man Randy Savage character.
That promo is right there the best thing on the show for me.
Very interesting.
So if you want to hear more, go back. If you haven't gone back to the free feed archives, season 4, more ICW. You can enjoy an entire episode recap over there. All of the free feed episodes, they're all evergreen content. You fire them up. You can go back to any season, any of the shows, and it's just like it came out today, except we're better at it than as we move along. But go back and listen to any of those. Great stuff there. ICW show from season 4 is fantastic. And we've mentioned the Patreon a few times. I'm going to mention it one final time. If you go over to patreon.com/wrestlingatRandom, or if Apple Podcasts is your podcatcher of choice, you can hit the subscribe button right there. Either way, it will unlock over 200 episodes of bonus content. So that's shows that were chosen by the randomizer sometimes that didn't fit into this feed. It was intentionalizer picks, so people who join at that tier can choose for us to watch a match, a show, a curated list of things, a movie sometimes. You can hear all 200 episodes. That's all evergreen content as well. You fire up any one of those episodes, it's like it came out this week. I guarantee you'll find something. There's a lot of famous wrestling moments that people have requested us to review over in the bonus feed. So some of your favorite wrestling moments we've probably reviewed over there. So if you haven't gone to check it out, $5 unlocks the entire back catalog. Go ahead and check that out for a month. Give it a try. Patreon.com/wrestlingatRandom, or right here in Apple Podcasts. And make sure you're following us on all the social media platforms as well, at Wrestle at Random, a great way to interact with the show. And of course, the best way to interact with the show, we have a whole community that interacts with the show over at YouTube, youtube.com. Search for Wrestling at Random Podcast, and there, leave your comments. Tell us what you think about the show we reviewed, your experiences with it. We love to hear about it there. So hit us up on social media. Hit us up on YouTube. We read every single comment and try to respond as much as possible. All the links I described, everything is available at the website, wrestlingatrandom.com. With that, now we're going to wrap it up and call it a podcast. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jeremy. And even though it was incomplete, I will say thank you, Randomizer, for a half a show from a far-flung territory. This brought us a lot.
Thanks again, everyone, for listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.